second goal of the afternoon. Leicester came out in the second half, started difficultly, and started to commit more bodies forward and see if they could at least find some route back into the game, and that's where they were picked off. Sade completing his hat-trick, doubling his return of goals for Brentford, and from that point on, the game was pretty much won for the hosts. Leicester City start a new era very shortly. It's going to be a new boss in charge. But certainly things to improve on after this afternoon's performance at the GTEC Community Stadium. All of our appreciations as well to the 1,725 Leicester City supporters that have made the trip down to the GTEC Community Stadium this afternoon. But full time in West London, it's Brentford 4, Leicester City 1.
Thank you very much, Charlie, for the commentary of that today, alongside Matt Elliott, who will join us on this post-match show with me, Dan Bates, Steve Howard and Jerry Taggart. There was a lot of optimism pre-game because of the news last night. New manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, taking charge. He wasn't obviously in charge in the dugout today. He's got a big job on his hands and a big week, actually, with those games on Tuesday and then on Sunday. Yeah. Because they're coming into those off the back of a disappointing away defeat. 4-1, it's finished to Brentford. Jerry, how do you surmise that?
Well, like you say, it's a tough job. It's going to be a big job. For me, what I've seen today is a team in desperate need of some leadership, first and foremost. A team that lack cohesion, like an identity, and so he's going to have to come in and sort all those things out, and pretty quickly. So after watching that, Ruud, yes, there was you have that initial, uplift in emotion because Leicester have got their man, so to speak. But I think even Ruud van Nistelrooy, after watching that, will be thinking, well, I've got some deep, dark and hard digging to do to get this team on a pathway to be successful at this level.
Yeah, I think I'll just echo what Jerry said there. I think that was a performance by a team that's managerless. That's as much as I can sum it up. I'm just hoping when obviously Ruud gets his feet in the door, gets to work with the players, he can motivate them, because there was no, that's a great word, Jerry, cohesion. There was nothing for me when I was looking at that. I didn't know what exactly to expect, to be honest, today. I thought maybe, with Ruud sitting in the stand, maybe, everybody's going to be roaring about and, trying to make an impression. But there was just none of that. It was just a lackluster performance, and obviously with the goals, and then you could see the energy sap out of the side. So it was, but I'm just hoping that's a one-off. You put that to bed, you sweep that on the carpet, and then you get on with Ruud. Yeah,
Dan, there's two ways it goes when you're in this scenario. One or two ways the team goes. The new manager sitting in the stand. The interim manager knows it's his last game in charge, and along with his staff. And so how do the players respond to that? So it's a difficult situation for both the members of staff who are in the dressing room at the minute and the players who are out on the pitch.
Go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and it can go one or two ways. And it obviously went the way that we were hoping it wouldn't have went.
Matt has obviously been watching it on co-commentary for us today. Matt, it was a tough watch really from here, to be fair. You'll have had a very similar vantage point, I'm sure, to that of Ruud van Nistelrooy. I'm not sure if you could see him from your position in the press box where he was in directors, but he won't be too pleased with what he saw, let's be honest, but he knows that he has got a couple of days and then a full week, obviously, to prepare the team, and that will really help on the training pitch.
Yeah, quick come around, isn't it, for the game on Tuesday. Be interested to see what changes, I was going to say if any there are, I'm sure there will be, and how drastic they'll be in terms of all different aspects of the setup, really, in terms of system, line up. It's buzzing here, by the way. You can probably hear that. They're making a right old ding-dong of it here, rightly so. Creating, 17,000 here? I know we don't want to sort of deliberate on the point there of the positivity of Brentford, but 17,000 here, they're just, I'd say 80% of the stadium still here, celebrating a really slow sort of lap of appreciation. Using it as inspiration for further times, really. It'd be nice to recapture this sort of mood at the King Power, wouldn't it? Which has happened not so long ago. So things are redeemable. But yeah, the line-up, the system, the mentality, the boys have touched upon probably as much as anything, to be fair. And they certainly by the end of the afternoon they were rudderless. I think that's fair to say. It seems a bit obvious to state that, but it's true. You feared from the start, to be fair, regardless of who in charge, bringing a Leicester City team here to Brentford, the way things are at the moment, the form that Brentford are in at home, you feared it was going to be a tough old challenge. So it proved to be, but with Leicester in the condition they are at the moment, it was always going to be too much of an ask, really. I think, quite frankly, at the moment, they came up short right across the board, and there was a little bit of lack of belief as well. But I suppose I better stop there because it could end up being too negative, really. But that's the hard truth of it. On today's performance, that's not to say that the future is all doom and gloom. Hopefully, far from it. 120 minutes or so ago, we were all infused, re-energised a little bit. Not that things were terribly dire anyway, but Van Nistelrooy coming in, it's going to be a totally different kettle of fish on Tuesday. It would have been nice to have more positivity to take into the game in midweek, but there isn't. Okay, it's done, deal with it, done and dusted. New manager, new era, new mentality, new belief, hopefully, and it can be a different scenario. That's not to say that things are going to turn around overnight. It's going to be, a big job on Mr. Roy's hands. But everything's not as devastatingly dire as it feels right now, because they've had a comprehensive whipping really down here. But things are going to be vastly different come the Hammers' arrival on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good point. And it isn't long on the training pitch for Ruud van Nistelrooy, is it? We're assuming obviously Sunday, Monday, the work will be there. Tomorrow, if it's a recovery session, it might not necessarily be a lot on the pitch, as you were saying earlier, Jerry.
Walk through,
you'll know a lot more than I will, certainly, on that. So, but it's enough time for him to get a couple of ideas across and even just try and... Is it about then just raising confidence after today?
Yeah, I think it's bringing a whole new mindset and a whole different way of life, if you want. As much as you can have that within the confines of a professional football club. He's got plenty to go on after today. So there's plenty of markers that he'll have picked up on today that he can change quickly within the mindset of an individual. And he doesn't have to spend too much time on the training ground with that regards. But obviously, overall, as a manager, or a head coach, especially in the modern game, you want to get your stamp on how you want your team to play over it as quickly as possible. And that is the one thing that he hasn't got time with in regards to the game on Tuesday night. But I think for me, Matt's touched on it, I think for me, between now and Tuesday night, it's all about getting the mindset right. Try and changing the dynamic of the mentality inside the dressing room to a more positive one, even though we've just been beaten.
Which I think will happen just automatically with him coming in.
Yeah.
So obviously he hasn't got long till Tuesday. I think you're right. I think there will be in tomorrow. Just going through a little walk through things, and then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the game on Saturday. But I think there will be a lift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Matt's right. You just say, right, that was that. Right, new era starts tomorrow. we get on with it.
And you know, players in general don't like having meetings, do they?
No, not at all.
Right? They just don't. But I'll tell you what, the next couple of meetings Ruud van Nistelrooy have will be humongous for the mindset of the players.
You're speaking about the atmosphere there at Brentford, Matt. I'm just thinking ahead to Tuesday in West Ham, to Sunday and Brighton, of course. And today has been bad. We can all accept that. But actually, hopefully, it can almost be forgotten about from a supporter's point of view, because it is then the first game under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And hopefully everything should be up and everyone should be up and we can create a real good atmosphere at King Power Stadium against a West Ham side who, by the way, play tonight against Arsenal.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so, because I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy can be expected to change the world overnight, but it can certainly change the feel and the mood around the club. He seems as if he's determined to do that, and it seems that's high on his priority list when he's spoken about things to look to address. I think initially, yes, listen, it will be there will be a buzz around the King Power on Tuesday. People will be looking forward to it, mainly because of Ruud van Nistelrooy's appointment. Nothing to do with today's display. But I think people will temporarily eradicate that from their minds, this performance today, with the expectancy and the hope that Nistelrooy brings, and that the players can be re-energised, refocused and produce form that they are capable of. It's not like they don't have the ability to go and get a result in the Premier League. So there's that to hold on to. Then it depends how the game goes, how the performance is, how the scoreline is, what the supporters are seeing. Are they seeing a reaction? Are they seeing something that can give them something to hold on to believe? And then things will flow from there. Now, if they don't, if it's disappointment and not even in terms of like the scoreline necessarily, then that negativity can sort of kick in and it becomes a big job. But I don't expect that to happen. Don't expect that to happen with West Ham. I would have to see how they get on tonight. They got a big game at home against Arsenal, aren't they? Oh, there you go. Hey, West Ham are not a bad example to see how quick fortunes can change. You know, they turned it on against Newcastle, away of all places, when they've been having a real struggle themselves, West Ham, and now most people have, even with Arsenal picking up form, people are fancying West Ham to nick something against the Gunners, and you're thinking, well, how does that make sense? So, listen, we don't know what the Tuesday or however far down the line holds exactly, but you know, that's part of the intrigue. But because of today, I was not surprised at all, I have to be honest, because with Steve Cooper leaving, it was a little bit of a sort of no man's land in between, and with the best of intentions, whoever came in had a tough job to fulfil there. And with the change, listen, it could have been a masterstroke. We'll have to see and wait what the system is on Tuesday. But with altering the system a bit, when things haven't been so secure anyway, I thought it just added to a little bit of misunderstanding, a lack of cohesion there. But you know, I don't know, short in midfield, whatever, etc., etc. I said we're not going to talk about the best thing to do, done and dusted, to get on it, so I'm going to stop talking about it. Tuesday is yeah, listen, it's a new chapter, isn't it? It's a new chapter. Leicester go and win. Maybe a big if at the moment, but they go and win on Tuesday. Get a result. Lord, those maybe even 2 wins on the trot in the Premier League, and then this is a distant memory, new era. It's a new beginning, and it's, you know, it's a whole different feel around the club. So, listen, taking the highs and the lows with a similar attitude is often mentioned, isn't it? And nothing is never more applicable than right now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a good point actually that Matt makes there. That it is just things can change so quickly, can't they, in football? And hopefully under Ruud van Nistelrooy, we do see a bounce on Tuesday, and you can certainly expect there'll be a bounce from the supporters. Even though today it happened, that's fine. Tuesday's almost just a fresh start, isn't it? A clean slate.
Just Matt was talking there. I think they agreed to everything that he said there. And I just think Tuesday, in some way, you can really class it as the results are relevant. You know, as long as the team go out there and perform and be up, because you got the fans will be up. You know, if you get a performance out the squad and the players are up and at it, I think that's the spark everybody's looking for. And obviously, you know, hopefully that'll go on. And, you know, they win the game and then they're away. But it's for me, it's the reaction after the day with a new manager coming in. I would love to see everybody going, you know what, Ruud, pick me for a reason.
Yeah, and if he hasn't got players who are saying, Ruud, pick me, then it's down to Ruud to make them think like that. And that's the job he's got on at the minute, because, again, without wanting to be, you know, too negative, because, like, you know, I love his positivity, Matt. He's brilliant, isn't he? And he's absolutely spot on as well, that there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of football to be played. And as Steve said it, the reaction is important on Tuesday night. But the players have to understand that the reaction from this is a new beginning, this is a new start, a new chapter in the history of this football club, they have to understand that. And so that, from going from a defeat and looking like, you know, some of the players are lost out there and they don't know what they're doing, they have to sort of quickly change that mindset into, okay, guys, so if we go out there and just give everybody a performance that they expect from us, then we can be forgiven everything else. So that's the important thing to have to remember.
That's quite a nice place to leave it, I think, Jerry, on a positive note, looking ahead to Tuesday. Of course, on Tuesday, we'll have all the action as ever here on Matchday Live on Fox's Hub. It is a 8:15 rather, kickoff. That means we'll be live from 7:15. I'll get the time right. Eventually, a bit of a later kickoff there. And then, of course, it is a return to King Power Stadium again on Sunday as the Foxes host Brighton. That is a 2 o'clock kickoff Sunday. That means we'll be live from 1 p.m. Big thanks to Matt, Elliot and Charlie for their company down at Brentford today. Thanks to Jerry and Steve for coming in again today. We said you had a good record.
I know,
winning against Bournemouth, coming in. Not so much the case today, but as we've been saying in the last 15 minutes or so, the new era starts on Tuesday, doesn't it? With Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge of the Foxes. We'll see you all down here at King Power Stadium in a couple of days. Goodbye.